Good. 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 Good.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? What's up, Rumble? This is Royce J coming at you guys with another live stream. How y'all doing today, man? It's Thursday. It's the day of Thor. Yeah, man. Hey, your boy was sick yesterday, man. I woke up and I felt like I had been beaten with bats. I was not feeling good at all, man. The weather here in Northeast Florida was it's pretty bad. We had a lot of wind, we had tornado warnings, and I woke up, man. I was not feeling good. So I got arthritis. Yes, I'm old. I know that's what some of you all like to say as a criticism. You old. Yeah, I am old, bitch. I'm old. So fucking what? Yeah, anything over anything over 40 is unk. So I'm unk. I'm unk. I'm Uncle Ancient. So yeah, you know. Anyway, how y'all doing, man? What's going on? Yeah, today we're gonna be doing chapter 11 of the book of Babbleations. I'll just be running my mouth. I'm not doing anything special. Just talking about some news, trying to catch up with you guys since I missed yesterday. I wasn't down all day. I had some work I had to do around the house, some home repair stuff, but I wasn't feeling up to it for getting on. So, I just took the day off. I pretty much need that. Still kind of hurting today, but hey, it is what it is. I'm here and we're gonna get it in. Do me a favor, as you all come into live streams on the respective platforms, hit that like button. If you aren't subscribed, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you're feeling really generous, hit that Cash App, man, and scroll across the bottom of the screen. Help me build the platform. I got some new pieces of equipment I eventually would like to get, and I would like my endeavors to pay for it, and I would like you all to help, you know. Anyway, so what's going on out there, man? I saw a news report, which we're gonna look into in a few minutes, but I saw a news report of a commissioner in Florida, a commissioner in the city of Orlando, has been arrested for elder abuse. And we're going to talk about it because I actually seen how I seen the genesis of this particular case. And so I would like to talk about it. And I would kind of like to talk about how you get these people in these positions that are these positions of trust, who are abusive people, who are manipulators and stuff. And it's hard to fight back against it until it's too late. You got a whole bunch of Tiffany Henyards, Fannie Willis's, Latoya Cantrells, um, uh, what was that, Melissa? Brent Hassett's, Mike Madigan's. You got a whole bunch of them running around. You got a whole bunch of them running around abusing the system and abusing people, committing crimes that by the time those crimes are found out, they've done so much damage that now it becomes a job hiding all of the stuff that they did because they're not going to let all of it come out because it's going to implicate a web of people, who were either complicit or who turned a blind eye to what was happening. So we'll talk about that, you know, because I think it's important, man. And I think the destruction that these people bring into the lives of others, I think it's worth mentioning because people need to know how to protect themselves. So, yeah, we'll talk about that today. We'll talk about some other newsworthy stuff. We'll talk about I might get into. Well, I'll hold off on that. In the meantime, let me look and see what's in the news today. What else we can talk about, man? What else we can talk about? 'Cause there's quite a bit, narrowing it down. Maybe I should start doing that more, but you know, I don't. Let me see. Let me see. Going back to this Diddy stuff, since you all love celebrity stuff, that's the only time I get people to look at this channel is if I'm talking some celebrity talk. Since you all love the celebrity stuff, let me ask a question. Do you all think that Diddy will tell on everybody that was involved with his shenanigans, or that he's a type of informant like Epstein? What do y'all think about that? In my opinion, both, either or both could be true, or that might not be the case at all with Diddy. What I will tell you is that Diddy has, I'm pretty sure if this man has video cameras all through his house, he's got a lot of dirt on a lot of people, and I don't blame him one bit. I'm all for recording people in your premises. If you choose to do so, I am all for recording people that you get into conflicts with. If you see a situation becoming a conflict situation, start recording that situation, because that is the most effective way to document the problem. So I am all for that. I am all for uh just recording anybody. You have to nowadays, especially if you're a man and you out there trying to live your life, man. You got people, man, that for some reason, for one reason or another, there's gonna be situations that you may have to defend yourself. And so I am of the mindset that you can't trust the majority of people out there these days. So you have to have some kind of record of any of interactions with most people. Now you don't have to do that with 100% of everybody. Excuse me. You don't have to do that with 100% of everybody, but I say it doesn't hurt, you know. And yes, it does. It does make everything difficult, and but having to pay thousands of dollars in attorney fees, uh, risking jail, risking getting fired from a job, risking having your reputation ruined, all of that stuff, it makes life just as hard. So, because you want to feel good, you don't want to have to worry about stuff like that. I mean, the bottom line, do what you want to do, man. Do what you want to do. Ultimately, just understand that, if you're out here uh, moving about in the world, you may have to defend yourself from some nonsense at some point. So, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? So, I know what I think about it, man. I think about, I already explained how I feel about the whole situation. Record everybody. I'm not mad at Diddy for recording people. I think it needs to be done more often. You all know my position with the likes of Cassie and others, uh, that this was a participant that she saw an opportunity to do a lot of this stuff for whatever reason, other than being coerced. And then she saw an opportunity to make some money off of it years later. And now she's going to have to use the opportunity, possibly, to avoid a federal indictment, if anybody's indicted at all. I don't think, right, at least in the near future, I don't think anything much is going to happen to Diddy, because it would have already happened if that was the case. You know, it is what it is. Because if they had stuff to lock him up, they would have locked him up. And I believe I explained so before. I explained why before, because a lot of times with search warrants, it has to be stipulated what the warrant is for. It can be for a person, it can be for items. Um, I've written probably 300 search warrants. Seriously. That's what I used to do. I had gotten so good at it, I started teaching other people I work with how to write search warrants. I've, wrote, I've written search warrants for cameras and evidence and, documents and different stuff without the person. And with those search warrants, I would use those search warrants to go in and get the documents I need. And I've written search warrants, arrest warrants. I've written arrest warrants for people. A search warrant is to search the premises or to go retrieve certain, pieces of, retrieve items that will become evidence. And then you have an arrest warrant. You can combine the two, or you can have them separate. You know, you can have everything on one sheet. You can have two different sheets. It depends. But the reason I say that, Diddy probably won't be arrested is, number one, he can afford the lawyers. Number two, if they had warrants to get his arrest, they would have arrested him. He wasn't at the premises or anything, so they couldn't arrest him on the premises. There wasn't, and there isn't anything that stipulated that Diddy was to be taken into police custody, and where he would be Mirandized because he was interrogated or anything. We haven't seen anything like that. I don't know about you all. I haven't seen anything like that. So, I don't think that, um I don't think they have enough to arrest him at this time. You know, that's not to say that they don't come up with something later to where they can, bring him into custody and you know, put him in jail. You know, and see, and this is, speaking to which, this is the stupidity I've seen of some content creators. Especially some of these old, you know, I call I say what I do is babbling, but I say it in jest. There are people that actually get on Babble and they take themselves serious, and it's like, come on, man. Like this one chick, she was talking about the indictments. Diddy hasn't been indicted of anything. He hasn't been indicted. He isn't facing criminal charges. She was talking all of this stuff like, I seen the indictment. You ain't, bitch, you ain't seen nothing. You have not seen an indictment. If he was not arrested and brought before a bond court judge where a bond was issued and conditions were put on that bond, you didn't see an indictment, you know? Um yeah. You know what? Let me find that video, man. It was on the podcast. This this young woman, she had Mike Rashid trying to, be political, well, he was trying to be a socio-political and, trying to dodge stuff and you know, I think he realized he was talking to, you know, uh, a bit of a moron. So he was trying to tap dance in the subject, which I get it, I understand, but it's a lot of times it's hard when you're having a debate with an idiot who has their mind made up. So let me see if I could find. I think is this it? No, but it's on a. Let me see if I can find it. Customer journey map, say. Space. Okay, yeah, we don't. Yeah, I felt kind of bad for Mike Rashid because he was clearly talking to someone who was very confident of very confident of her stupidity, you know. And I've seen, young women who they talk about a subject and they they have their points together and they know something about the subject because they've done some research. This young woman was not one of those people. This was, your typical. This is one of your typical morons that they sit on panels on these shows, and they, I feel. And the minute you hear that I feel, they're gonna say something. They're gonna go on a stupid diatribe. So let me see if I could find. If I find the video, man. I think this was the one. You know, she was using all the modern woman buzzwords. Uh, they like they really like give it that narcissist. Coming from some of the most narcissistic tendency having people around. They love calling everybody else narcissists. You know, he was a narcissist. I have these chicks use that word, can't spell it. You know, they want to. They give you the facade. It's like they use verbal makeup where they use a lot of words to make them seem smarter than they actually are. And it's like, oh, come on, stop it. You know, yeah, that's hold on. All right, let me see if I can pull this up, man. Okay, erase that. Let me see if I can pull this up. Then you had Mike Rashid, he halfway didn't know what he was talking about. You have a lot of a lot of people that are able to freely talk about stuff they don't know much about. Just out here in general. Let me see if I can get this going. Fair use, fair use. Shout out to SOS Podcast for this video. Let's go.
theirs. So this is it. This is my moment. This is
So,
how I can leave. It's
by
just
the way,
a switch.
respect to her.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
100%.
so, couldn't the same be true for Cassie?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
It comes to a point where your spirit is so broken down and you've been through all these things which you're taught to be ashamed of while you're in the situation, which is another aspect of the psychological fucked upness
Yeah.
that happens in a dynamic like that. So you're taught to be ashamed of the things that you may have done.
Lies. These people are coming from people who have made it a practice over the last 30 to 40 years to just stand back and not say much. These people haven't been shamed as much as they'll tell you. They'll lie and tell you, especially a lot of these women. They'll lie and tell you, "Oh, I was shamed," and stop lying. Let's go. Fair use, fair use.
Because of this relationship, you're taught to be like, oh, well, when you leave, everyone's just going to think you're a piece of shit anyway. So why would you do that?
But
Like,
that's not the
it's
illegal part, though. You have
Yeah.
to be mindful because I
Okay, but what if you weren't? The reality is, you know, relationships don't work for a reason. Sometimes people just don't get along. Sometimes there is a shitty party. Sometimes both parties are shitty. Yeah, this young woman got on my nerves her entire time. She ran her mouth on this video. You know, like I said, there are women who have their points together, can articulate a subject, can stay on topic, who can be objective and stuff. She is not one of them. She is the typical, talking about feelings, constantly giving feminist apologetics for inappropriate female behavior, who likes to give the the she likes to misrepresent herself as knowing more than she actually does. She everything wrong with a lot of female social media commentary she does. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
can relate. I can relate to you 1,000%. But what you run into is that it goes from, I'm in this relationship and it's toxic and all these terrible things are happening to me, but you're also there. So you're putting
I
yourself
totally
there.
get
Now,
that,
if it comes to the point of where, okay, it gets physical in any inappropriate way, if that's aggressive or the graping and they can prove that, then of course disciplinary action is
Now, if
required.
we're talking
hold on,
about
real
the
quick. I'm gonna
indictment,
ask
she
the
does
panel.
mention all of those
Dina,
things.
Dina,
She
one second.
mentioned she was drugged.
Dina, 1 second. Just to be clear here for the ladies, somehow even the men, how many of you guys have been in an abusive relationship? Show of hands.
I don't see it.
So one.
What does that mean, abusive?
Say it
Yeah,
tough.
yeah, like
Define that.
what type of abuse?
How would you define it?
Emotional, physical,
There's many
verbal.
Let's start with
We're
physical.
talking abusive.
I don't know how you define emotional abuse. You tell me. I don't know how you define.
Listen, if everything is abused, then nothing is abused. And this is another one of those terms that it's overused. It's overused to the point to where it now doesn't mean anything. Everything is abuse, and all abuse apparently means anything that the person making the accusation doesn't like. Your financial abuse because you want to have a budget and you're with a person that is maybe financially responsible or may not be as cognizant of what the long-term financial goals are, so you control the money. You're financially abusive. You're emotionally abusive if you tell that person, you need to lose some weight. You gain too much weight. You need to lose it. That's emotional abuse. Everything is abuse. They hit you and you push them to get them to get them back, to create some space so that you can get away from them. And all of a sudden you're a physical abuser, even though they initiated the violent contact. That's yeah. I don't. Yeah, with them, everything is abuse. So now it's to the point that nothing is abuse. Let's continue fair use, fair use.
Relates to everything that she said in that indictment, as someone who's been in a position of being.
She called it an indictment. It's not an indictment. It is a civil tort. It's not an indictment. She's sitting there. She's expressive with her hands and stuff. She's very wordy. She'll make you think she's smart and that she knows more than she actually does. The simple fact that what she uh, alleged against Diddy was part of a civil tort. It was not an indictment. Indictments come with criminal charges. There have never been criminal charges filed against Diddy. And make no mistake, I am not a Diddy fan. I am not a Diddy fan. I always thought something was off about the guy. He's always been suspect to me, but facts are facts. And the fact is, this woman keeps saying indictment, and there was no indictment. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
In an abusive relationship, I think she's telling the truth.
Okay, that's what I want to ask the ladies. Are you guys familiar with who Diddy dated for 11 years? Does anybody not know Cassie? You could pull her up. Gorgeous girl. Yeah. By the way, Cassie, if you ever see this, that song, Me and You, thank you.
Classic.
That helped your boy out when he didn't really have that much game. I was like, just put the song on. It's over. It's done. Sorry, ladies. Who doesn't believe Cassie here? Show of hands. Does not believe her.
I would need to read the.
Okay.
I would need to read it.
So-
I need to read the court.
Guys, we're not reading the fucking court case now. You know what she accused of him?
Right.
Some weird ass shit, physical,
Right.
emotional abuse, settlement.
And
None
my-
of you guys think that she's lying.
So
Mike was the only guy.
I don't think
I have
does
no
it.
my
clue.
brain
Okay, you
reason
don't know.
No, I
why
don't know.
I feel
So you're
like
just sitting
she's-
this one out, pleading the fifth.
No, I just don't give a fuck.
Okay.
So
And
my
I think
main
that's the
reason
problem.
why-
I think that's the
Yep,
problem is
yep.
why so many people give so many fucks about this.
Yeah.
Like people care so much about the lives of other people, and it's
Yeah.
fucking disgusting. And that's what's the problem with society right now, and that's what bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Is that people would rather obsess over other people's lives and not take accountability for their own. They don't want to be the person that they're truly meant to be, and they'd rather jerk off to dudes like Andrew Tate, which I think he's got a lot of great points. I'm not saying he's bad, but they'd rather jerk off to other people's lives than actually take accountability for their own. And it's sick to me how these people are even.
All right, a word about this guy right here. He's trying to come across as if he's saying something deep, when really the fact is that human life is about analyzing the lives of other humans. That's just a part of what it is to be a human, to be social creatures. We're going to worry about what other people do to some point. I mean, I get it. Yeah, the main focus should be on your own life and your own situation, but truth be told, with humans being social creatures, you're going to speculate and have an opinion and critique the lives of others like you. It is what it is. This is why he's on the show. They're not on the show talk sports or talk about what he likes. He's on here as well, speculating about Diddy's life. So, I apparently that's a moneymaker and it's a reality of the system. So, you either do it or you don't do it. I think he's a bit disingenuous, but he's another one of them pretty broads that be on the panels that that like that run their mouths and make you think that they're deeper than they are. Yes, I called him a pretty broad. I sure did. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
And as big as they are, it's because the people care so much about their lives. I'm not saying it's not good for us to talk about. I know child sex trafficking and abuse with women is something that's very hot, popular topics right now. And I think it's ironic timing for this to come out now.
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't know. And I don't think people should obsess over it. I think people should wait until the court case comes out and that actually happens. But take care of your life. Like, take care of your own fucking house. Like, do things that you need to do to be able to become the person you need to be for the people in your life.
Kian, I agree with you, kind of, and I'll tell you why.
Perfect.
I say this all the time on the Peabody podcast. The people, you know, writing, hey, fire Adam, no, Adam's the man, blah, blah, blah. And one of the things I always say is, stop worrying about what's going on in the White House and start worrying about what's going on in your house. I think we all can co-sign that. But the part B is like, okay, I also want to vote for the fucking president. I also want to know what's going on in the world. Like, everybody knows who O.J. Simpson was. Like, if you gave this speech to everybody about O.J., I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to find out what happened with O.J. You know? Hey, bro, don't fucking listen to Johnny Depp. It's like...
Yeah, exactly. I do agree with Adam with that particular point in that ideally, people want to know about the other people that they put in certain positions, put in charge of certain things, people that, you know, whatever intellectual or material property that you take, that you transact with them, you want to know something about them in most cases. You know, you want to know about your president's history. You want to know about any, you know, suspect or confirmed unscrupulous situations that they may have been in. You know, ideally, you want to know that stuff about the people you bring into your home, you bring into your lives. So, yeah, I agree with that part. You know, I mean, Adam has been known to say some stuff that I don't agree with. I think it's like, you know, okay, I don't think that was fully thought out. But with this particular point, I do agree with him. I actually think both of these gentlemen made some points, and even the one woman that's sitting on their side with them, I think she hasn't spoken much, but she raises some good points. I guess my issue is with the ones on the right side of the screen, especially that last one. She gets on my nerves. You know, she uses a lot of, you know, she's a bullshitter. She is a bullshitter. She's a modern woman bullshitter, and she annoys me how she talks. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use. Back to the video.
I'm watching Pirates of the Caribbean. I gotta know if he's a psychopath or not.
Yeah.
The reality is, people are gonna want to find out what the hell happened with Diddy.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but you are right.
Yep.
You should focus more on your life, and I think most people are. But there is certainly some truth in that people are obsessing about everyone else's shit when they should focus on their own.
But it's also the emotional investment element to it as well. It's like I can be aware of what's going on and happening in the world without being overly emotionally invested. I think that's a problem.
I agree. I don't think anyone's gonna leave here tonight and be like, fucking Diddy.
You'd be surprised. Maybe not people here, because people here care about their own lives, I think, generally. But I think a lot of people out there that are brainwashed because they can't independently think to be able to be so consumed
you know what
by
those
it.
people are called?
But
Losers.
Right.
You know how you fix being a loser?
What he's guilty of. That's
The little girl that cried wolf situation, I don't know how long that's going to last, sort of the Cassie thing right here. But where I wanted to ask you was, today, a few hours ago, we had Trump's lawyer on, Alina Habba, right? We could probably show an image of her.
He's got it.
Well, he got
And we were talking about the Diddy situation. And there she is right there. She was on, you could probably even show an image from the podcast today.
Yeah.
She was kind of in your camp, Mike, where you know, and it's kind of weird. Diddy's basically saying it's a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt. I'm thinking, where else have I heard that before? Your client, Donald Trump. We just saw that 77% of people basically think he's guilty. 2% of people think he's innocent. The rest are in your camp, innocent until proven guilty. Speak to that almost from a stoic standpoint, why you shouldn't jump to conclusions.
Because you don't know the facts. No one knows the facts. The fact that people are saying guilty without having a identified like statement of what he's guilty of, that's problematic in itself. So, you know, I can't even have a meaningful conversation with somebody with that premise that they're just saying guilty. I'm like, all right, you got your mind made up. You're emotionally invested into this. I'll withdraw myself from that conversation, right? So healthy dialogue is important. And I understand what you're saying in regards to people being concerned with their own lives. That's very important. But, you know, we're here and this is the show.
Absolutely.
And this is the topic. And I think it's important to really like have some understanding and some nuance, right? Because people do think, look, Cassie's a beautiful woman, sweet looking and all of that, right? But Cassie was participating in freak-offs for years, right?
What
And
about Kim Porter?
what are we talking about? Are we talking about Cassie?
What
or are
name
we
did you
talking about-
say?
Well, I'm saying.
But no.
There she go, changing the subject. I don't like how she discusses things. Not at all. I really don't. I don't like how she approaches topics. I don't like how she likes to redirect with a lot of what abouts, and so I don't like how she talks. She would get on my nerves if I had to talk face to face with her. I would tune out. Only reason we're talking about her right now, we're showing her right now, because I want to show you all how you have people that don't know what they're talking about, but they'll come across with a lot of passionate language and a lot of misdirection and mislead you into thinking that they do know what they're talking about and that their opinion about a topic is important. Let's go back into the video. Fair use, fair use.
Nah, but
Abusers
see,
usually
let's-
have a history of abuse.
Let's talk about what we're talking about, though.
So that's
talk about
part
what
of
we're
his
talking
history
about.
of abuse.
Okay.
Is
He's
his
saying to stay
relationship
on
with Kim
topic.
Porter.
Okay, that's
You're
fine.
talking about Cassie.
I don't know much
Different
about
person
that,
that
to
he-
be honest. I really don't know. I can't talk to that, right? I'm talking about the Cassie thing, right?
So would you agree that he was found guilty in a civil suit?
I don't. Yeah, we
But
all know
the balance-
that. We
it's
all
on
know
the
that.
balance
But
of
hold on, hold on.
probability.
Hold on.
So,
let me address that though.
As far as the
No, no,
civil
There is no finding someone guilty in a civil suit. You're found liable or not liable. There is no guilty. Guilty is for a criminal charge. Guilty or not guilty is for criminal charges. There's no guilty or innocent. There's guilty and not guilty. That's for criminal. For civil, it's liable, not liable. What the fuck is she talking about? I don't like how she approaches topics. I don't like how how she abuses terms. She misuses terms. I don't like it at all. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
no.
suit.
Let's
Okay.
address each thing as you go along. What does that mean in civil suit?
it means that there was enough probability of it happening that it scared his lawyers into giving Cassie money for it
doesn't mean-
before it went to a criminal trial.
Scared his lawyers. Okay.
Because he didn't make that decision. I want you guys to all understand that.
Okay. She just conflated. She just conflated a criminal trial, a criminal proceeding, with a civil proceeding. And she just conflated settling a case with guilt. So let's unwrap this. First of all, Let's deal with the lawyers settling rather than taking a case to a civil trial. This is often done to free up the accused because they don't want to spend the time or the money fighting an issue in court, which could take 2 to 3 years, sometimes longer. With a lot of these corporations, they'll be dealing with civil suits for almost a decade in court. Imagine having to pay lawyers lawyer fees to fight a case for decades, let alone 2 or 3 years. It's ridiculous. So a lot of times, they'll settle the case just to make it go away. Number two, because uh the person accused may want to protect their family or protect others from certain information getting out that uh could be used against those people accurately or erroneously. A lot of times it's best to settle. I've seen this happen lots of times. In fact, it is specifically stipulated in those settlements, part of the paperwork, that this is done without an admittance of liability or guilt. So settling doesn't mean what she's implying it means. Number two, she's saying she's going from civil to criminal because what she's saying is the lawyers didn't want, they settled because they didn't want guilty to be, they didn't want Diddy to be found guilty in a criminal case. This is not these. There was not criminal charges filed again, and this is listening to a woman like this. She'll mislead other people. She'll mislead other women. She'll mislead men who are sympathetic to women. She'll mislead children. She'll mislead whoever listens to her that doesn't know better. This I don't like how she talks, but you actually see this. You actually see this a lot. You actually see people who carry on conversations like this and talk about important stuff a lot, and they'll. I don't know if it's intentional or not intentional in each case, but I do know it can be used intentionally to mislead people and to create fake paradoxes and fake narratives that have subsequently went on to become legislation that when you look at it and you look at you look at the true facts and you look at the true particulars of the situation, you turn around and go, oh, this person pretty much lied. Roe versus Wade, for example. We come to find out in this day and age that it was all based on a lie. And the whole, gender inequality in income. For years you had people saying, oh, women make 71 cents to every dollar a man makes it. Come to find out it was a lie, but it was a lie that was told passionately and so misleading and stuff that a lot of people bought it. You even had a president use that as one of the platforms that he ran on. Shout out to Barack Obama. But we know that it was a lie, and it wasn't hard to find out that it was a lie. That's the thing. It wasn't even hard to find out that it was a lie and that the information that was regurgitated by people was intentionally done so to mislead others into voting for the agenda that they that the people who told the lie wanted to be pushed. So yeah, I don't like how this young woman talks. I'm not gonna say I don't like her because I don't know her. I don't know her really to not like her. You know, and this is my first time seeing her, but I definitely don't like how she discusses things. I definitely don't. You know, she how she discusses things is very problematic in my opinion. Let's continue with the video. Fair use, fair use.
Too. The
How do you know
decision
that?
to settle wasn't his
How
decision.
do you know though?
Because when you're a multi-billionaire and you have insurances, like you said, that decision lies with the insurance company, not with him.
Is that your world though? Are you in that space and you
I
know?
know a lot of people that are in
Okay.
that space.
All right,
And
I'm
when
sorry.
it's a
You're the expert.
multi-billion-dollar multimedia company that's under fire, why do you think the first thing he did was step down from Revolt?
So
That
here's-
wasn't his
so
decision.
here's the thing.
That was his
You don't think
insurance
so?
lawyer's decision.
All right. So here's the thing. Here's what's problematic with certain discussions. People assert things without knowing, and you're standing on something that you don't know.
I do know.
So-
I've seen the press on
okay.
it. And
Facts, Mike Reed. Facts. Mike Rashid. I keep calling him Mike Reed. This is Mike Rashid. I agree with him. I agree with him. She is asserting stuff that she really doesn't know. He asked her a question is about is what she talking about, is that her life? And you see how she just dodged it. She tried to, she tried to do the centipede right out of the way, She man, I don't like how she talks with conversation, but you have a whole lot of this. You have a lot of this from a lot of women that get on the internet. This is a very common tactic, and a lot of guys don't catch it. A lot of men don't catch it, and they're all like, amateur politicians. And you have, you know, yeah, male politicians and pastors that do this stuff as well, but it's not as many of them. I tell you though, every other woman you talk to, especially they put them on these platforms. For every one pastor or politician you see, you're gonna see 5 women like this one using the same bullshit tactics. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use. I ain't gonna ever get monetized talking like this. Let's go.
just like you said, at the bottom of a
I'll
civil
remove
suit,
myself
it
from this
does
part of the
say
conversation
his
because you know a lot more than me.
insurance.
I think you lost all credibility when you started talking about your own situation.
I mean,
You started
I'm-
talking about your situation and what that brought up inside of you, and then when you started doing that, then that made all logic and fact go out the window.
Yeah, but I'm not speaking on an emotional standpoint. I'm no longer speaking on my
I know, but that was the first thing you brought up, so therefore everything after that's irrelevant.
Lawsuit where he was found guilty of these allegations, where
Again, as she go with the guilty, it's liable, not liable. Liable and guilty are not the same word. They have similar meanings, but in different contexts. And this is how lawyer. Let me tell y'all something. This is how lawyers trick people up. They will weaponize language against you. You'll say something and you meant to say one thing, but you use a word out of context, or you use the wrong word, or whatever. And defense attorneys do this all the time. The police officers, they do this to prosecutors, they do this to witnesses for the prosecution. They will take your words and turn them against you because you use the wrong words. That's why when I used to have to go in front of attorneys, defense attorneys, I was very exact to the reports. I'll put it this way. I tried to be very exact to the reports and basically treated it as like I said what I said and tried to use the most accurate terms possible, you know, so that and not use a lot of terms, not to get too wordy and use exact terms because you want to give them as little as possible to try to weaponize against you. Um, you know, but conversely, in situations like this, where you have these panel discussions with um, people who really don't know what they're talking about, but they can string a bunch of words together with passion, and they use a whole bunch of $20 words for $5 conversations. They'll have you thinking that they're super smart, intelligent, and deep. And it's like, no, you just made a word salad. It's really looking at this. This is a word salad that she put microplastics and raisins in the potato salad, as far as I'm concerned. So let's get back at it. Fair use, fair use.
His
You have to be
lawyers
aware
were
of your own
scared
bias.
enough for him to go to a criminal court. So we're no longer speaking about me. Just because I interjected my own private experience was to show that it is possible for someone to go through these things and live a cookie cutter lifestyle to everyone else. And I know that from my own experience.
What does that
I'm
say
not
about the
speaking
person
from-
in that position, though?
What does it say about that
If
person?
a
It says
person
that she was an
stays
18-year-old impressionable girl who wanted a
18
career.
for how long?
Who it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It
You're
does
right.
matter.
She was
All
with
right.
him for 11 years.
Okay.
So when she left, she was what, 28?
You're good. You're good.
So if she's in a situation that stunted her mental growth because you got her when she was 18.
Or never underestimate the power of feminists and modern women to excuse the bullshit of women. She was only 18. Listen, if you can send young men off to fight and die in wars at the age of 18 for this country, I'm not trying to hear about some woman talking about she was only 18 and she wasn't mature enough. No, we're not doing that. These are the same women that'll tell high school boys, women mature faster than men, all while she got a 24-year-old boyfriend picking her up in his in his Hellcat Charger. Yeah, I'm not trying to hear that, man. This is the same type of woman who will say that. All of a sudden, women are still babies up until they're 25, but they'll turn around and treat a 15-year-old dude like, "Oh, you the man in your mama house now." I don't like her. I'm just gonna. I've changed my mind. I went from not liking her to how she talks to I don't like her. She's the personification of what I do not like in these discussions nowadays. No, 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 no. I wow. All right, let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
And you have her in this environment that is only her environment. That's what that
Do you know?
becomes your
You know
normal.
that most of the time they live together, they didn't live together. He have an apartment in L.A. He's in New York. She has her own place. They
Do
weren't
you
together
know
for
that
11 years,
even
right?
though they don't live together, we're talking about a mogul who can travel at the dime, like the drop of a dime. Do you know she got her ass whooped plenty of times just for going out with her friends? And I know that because I know people that were friends with her at that
what's up.
time. You understand?
Okay.
So
Once
you
I'm
get
not
physical-
Boy, she is tap dancing. Yeah, see, this is what I was telling you about. This is what I don't like. Every excuse in the world. She has an excuse for everything in the world. Look, bottom line is Cassie was not a victim. Cassie was a volunteer. Lil Rod, he's not a victim. He's a volunteer. You know, I knew about like I told y'all before. We knew about Puffy. I knew about Puffy back like 91, 92. That he was Puffy is a party boy. And there are people who go to parties, then there are party boys. And like Bill Cosby, they supply the drugs. They having sex with the party chicks. They're gonna put you in weird party situations. There are people that go to parties, and there are people that really party. And Diddy is one of those people, and he's rich. You know, that's what come with rich people. Now I don't know about the kids and stuff. That's what I'm interested in finding out. Did he knowingly have involvement with kids? If that's the case, and that's what comes out in court, and he's convicted of that, then yeah, give him some Buck Rogers years, give him some football score years, get him up out of there. You know, but with the other stuff, I'm not really tripping because that's what he's a party boy, and he's in an industry where you got a whole lot of switch hitters, and he just happened to allegedly be one of them. If that's the case, hey, you know, if he ain't strong arming it, then I ain't tripping. You know, that's how they get down. You want to do this, you know, they got their own little weird sexual harassment, you know, if that's what you want to call it, but they have their own little weird ways of doing stuff, of partying. So I'm not tripping. Let's continue fair use, fair use.
Speaking from
Listen.
an emotional standpoint, I'm
Okay.
telling you
If
guys.
you know, look, you know facts that I don't.
The
You have inside information that I don't. So I can't properly like entangle with you on this topic. You know way more than me. I'm just giving my
I
breakdown.
wouldn't say that. I've just done the research in order to
You
be
said
able
you
to
do
state
know.
this.
You said you know.
We've seen what you. Now for my
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car.
Man, yeah, anyway, she hasn't done any research, man. Her idea of research is sitting up there, you know, uh, yapping and gossiping with one of her girlfriends, a gay male friends. That's the extent of her quote unquote research. Or nobody's buying that she's done real research. She is uh, an emotionally charged, wordy liar. We're gonna leave it at that. That's what she is. You know, she uses a lot of words to tell, you know, to lie and to paint a picture of something that isn't reality. So, you know what? Let's look at a little bit more of this video, and then I'm gonna shut it out. I'm gonna close it, shut it down. Well, shut this video down because I'm tired of hearing her talk, man. She's annoying. Man, OBS around here tripping.
That get squatted or swatted all the time.
yep.
Right. We're
And
talking about a
it's
SWAT,
Yep.
though. We're not talking about a bi-coastal raid.
A SWAT, that's majored. You know how much money that costs the state
Yep.
to deploy a SWAT
totally
team?
get that.
That's a military operation.
I get that.
No,
but to
you
do
don't.
it bi-coastally,
You don't.
She ain't alone in her using words inaccurately. Mike Reed just used a word or term inaccurately. You know, uh, so a SWAT operation is not a military operation. It is a paramilitary operation, which is very different. It is a law enforcement operation, which is very different. So you know, they get a lot of people up here using words trying to sound sexier than they actually are. And it's annoying. It's annoying. I would love to get on there with a rolled up newspaper, and every time somebody said something that was inaccurate or was on some BS, I'd smack them with that newspaper across the head. Pow! All right, let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
To do
Not,
it
yeah,
bi-coastally at
for
the same time.
a high profile target like Sean Diddy Combs, they're gonna break the bank on that because just like whoever's going after Trump, the lady in Atlanta, this is gonna be huge for her career, and we cannot act like that doesn't matter. It does.
Yep.
does.
Right.
You're right.
So because these district attorneys, their ultimate job is to get as many convictions as possible. If they get a big name, books, interviews, their life changes. Just like in social media, somebody have a viral moment, they're set, right? Everybody's trying to get money, you know? And for those people in that world, that's how you get it. I took down Sean Diddy Combs.
Yep. By the way,
course.
everybody trying to get money. Diddy's possibly best song ever. All about the Benjamins, baby. Boom.
All right, yeah, that was Adam with you know, he had to throw he had to throw his little I don't know what that was. Sometimes I like Adam, sometimes Adam makes my head hurt. I don't know. But anyway, what do you all think about it, man? What do you all think about it? Let me see if you all have anything to say about this. Um, you know, see what y'all talking about. And apparently nobody's talking about anything. I'm the only one running their miles around here. Hey, y'all got to do better, man. y'all a trip, man. Hey, listen, you know, you ain't gonna, man, well, if you ain't gonna comment, then at least hit the like button. Because I know how many of you all there are in here. Do me a favor and hit the like button. I get it, you watching from the clouds and stuff. Hit the like button from me. But anyway, this is what you have happening though. You have a lot of people, man, they get on these panels and you know, they they give you a whole lot of feels but I know a guy that, I know a person, and it's like, no, you don't. You really don't. And sometimes you have to really corner them with a lot of these bullshit positions, which is, you all know I don't trust Candace Owens as far as I can throw her. But I will say how she addresses people, she speaks with and she debates with. I like how she does that because she'll corner you, and she'll make you rethink what you just said or your position because she'll catch you up on those verbal mistakes. And I like that. I do like that. She's very good at that part of the game. But I'll also let you know, I know about Candace. I know Candace Owens used to be a Democrat. I know Candace Owens is a womanist. I know Candace is about the grift. I'm not mad at her for being about the grift. Hey, do what it takes. Make your money, But I know where your talking points came from. you know, I know where your talking points came from. With some of them, I know when they came from. You know, was that just? I was just looking for something I wanted to show you guys, but I can't find it. So shit, find it. I can't even remember that shit. But yeah, man, yeah. So but that's what it is. Let's look at this story about the Orlando commissioner getting locked up because that's kind of what I started off with, and I did say I would touch on that later, and I'll give my thoughts. So this is Orlando Commissioner Regina Hill got arrested a week ago. She has been subsequently suspended by Governor DeSantis, and she got arrested for elder abuse. I think elder abuse was one of the big charges. It was definitely one of the charges they put out there in the news, which, you know, it is what it is. Let me pull this story up so we can take a look at it and we'll talk about it. Let me take a look at that going. All right, let me pull this up. This is from WESH News, 2 News. Shout out to them for this story. We're gonna take a look at it, and then I'll give my thoughts about it. Fair use, fair use.
Breaking news, state police will share more details this afternoon about the arrest of Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill.
She has been under investigation about possible exploitation of an elderly constituent. West 2's Dave McDaniel live at the jail with more on this case and what happened this morning.
And Regina Hill has been booked into the Orange County Jail. That is according to the jail website. She faces a total of 7 different charges. This is the mugshot of 58-year-old Regina Hill. The Orlando City Commissioner faces 7 total charges, including 3 counts of exploitation of the elderly, mortgage fraud, scheme to defraud, and 2 counts of fraud. This centers on an ongoing investigation involving a 96-year-old constituent who Hill learned was living in bad conditions back in 2021. An investigative affidavit indicated Hill had inappropriate gained power of attorney for the woman.
Man, I was talking, rocking out. I didn't, I forgot I muted myself, but I remember this situation, the situation to where she was first alerted about the senior citizen. I believe it was on a show called Hoarders, and what happened was that this older person had a lot of stuff in their house, making the house and environmentally dangerous. And this was because this older person was in the hospital, and you know, you late 80s and early 90s, it's hard to take care of stuff. So I mean, it was a situation where someone needed help, and Regina Hall came into the situation, and she talked about the community failing to take care of its older citizens and stuff, and how she was going to step in and help and make sure that this woman's needs were met, because it was an older woman, it was an older black woman, and you had that in 2021 to this in 2024. Now we're here. And it's like it's funny that I remembered that situation because hmm. Well, let's look at some more of the story. Fair use, fair use. Let's continue.
And had spent more than $100,000 on herself. The charges she now faces, 3 counts of exploitation of the elderly, mortgage fraud, scheme to defraud, and 2 counts of fraud, reflect that. The woman's new power of attorney filed legal action against Hill, with Hill responding in a motion to dismiss that the constituent lacks the capacity to enter into any agreements or contracts due to incapacity, and that the new power of attorney has no relationship to the principal and no actual knowledge of her needs. Regina Hill faces a total of 7 charges, as I mentioned, and those bonds for those 7 charges.
Shout out to Black Girl Magic. Seems like that magic is working again to the detriment of those they come into contact with. It's wild, man. It's wild. Let's continue. Fair use, fair use.
Total $40,000. I reached out to the city of Orlando. They said they are aware of the arrest, saying that would be up to the governor if there's to be any suspension of Hill from the Orlando City Commission, but that if she is suspended, the charter in Orlando would state that there would be a special election to temporarily replace her. Reporting live at the Orange County Jail, Dave McDaniel, West 2 News.
Yeah, so Timmy, what do y'all think about that, man? I just told y'all what I think. Black Girl Magic strikes again to the detriment of everyone involved. You know, and it's sad because this would normally be a situation where, had she done the right thing, this is one of those things she could campaign on, and this is one of the things that would win her the respect of people like myself, who believe in standing up for the elderly, and standing up for the disabled, and standing up for small children and stuff. That's my thing. With adults, hey, as far as I'm concerned, with adults, it's the wild, wild west. If you are not in my immediate circle, what you deal with whatever comes. But children, people with disabilities, old people, I have a special uh, spot in my soul, and that I believe in protecting those people. That's always been my thing. Protect the child, protect children, protect the elderly, protect the disabled. And so when I see stuff like this makes me want to go and cuss her out. I ain't that far from Orlando. Oh man, that makes me want to go, you know, pay a little visit to jail and cuss her out. you know, I mean, it's and the thing about it is, this is a position of public trust. And this is what I keep telling you all. You have a lot of situations where you're going to see more situations of women using, uh, you know, uh, weaponizing other people's trust to finesse and rob them. This is a crime of trust. So I don't, man. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. but I'm pretty sure she'll have her apologist. Well, you gotta understand, it'll be, it'll be the you know who's, and it'll be the pro blacks. Mark my words. We're gonna make this. We're gonna make this story. We're gonna make it national. I hope people with bigger platforms see this story and talk about it. Because it needs to be talked about. So anyway, anyway, let's see what else, man. Let's see what else. I might cover one more story. Then I'm gonna get on out of here. Get some other stuff done. I'm doing a painting job in my house, so I gotta get that all finished up. So seem like I got quite a bit of stuff I can get done. So you know. Anyway, I might check out that game. That game changer. Game changer got a stream going on. I might check it out, man. Shout out to Game Changer. If you're not already subscribed to him, check him out. He's another one. His material is not for everybody. I mean, he even says stuff that I don't. A lot of stuff I don't agree with, but he's entertaining nonetheless. So, yeah. What was this? Give y'all one more story. One more story. One news story. It's still. Let's talk about the squatter law. Let me. Let's talk about the squatter situation. Looking at what's going on in places like San Francisco, looking at what's going on in places like Oregon, what's going on in Illinois in the Chicagoland area. I mean, it's just the squatters issue it's been around for a long time. I remember I was working in an area in the in the southern part of the county I was in, and I accidentally stumbled upon a squatter encampment, and it was wild, man. I was like, okay, and they were in the forest preserve, and they would come out and go to the mall area, and you know, that's where they would panhandle and stuff like that. And then they would return to their tents at night. So let's check this story out, man. Fair use, fair use. Shout out to Fox Business. Let's go.
Who allegedly broke into their near $1 million home and refused to vacate, calling the situation absolutely absurd. I don't blame them. The homeowners racking up thousands in legal bills fighting the suit. Joining us now is Polk County, Florida Sheriff Grady Judge. Sheriff, it's great to have you on the program today. And I know
Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Hey, Grady Judd is wild. Hey, and I'm not saying wild like Diddy wild. He's like lawman wild. Hey, he tells it like it is. He has no filter. I love it. When he gets to talk about stuff, I love it. But okay, I'm now what I did, and I need to apologize. I mean, it does cover it, but this story is going into a different part of the squatting, which you do see here, in Florida and in other places where you have people, they move into your properties, they get a piece of mail there, they register that address with some company or something just to get mail, and that activates in many places squatters protection laws and stuff like that. So I yeah, let's take a look and see what the sheriff has to say, and possibly what the governor has to say. Let's go. Fair use, fair use.
there are changes that are being enacted right now in Florida to make sure that these kinds of situations don't occur and that squatters' rights aren't abused. What would happen to these squatters if this happened in your state?
The Florida legislature just clarified that, and our Governor DeSantis is already signed the bill. And even before that bill, if those folks had lived in Polk County with that $1 million house and squatters had gone there, we would have gone there and arrested them and have taken them to jail immediately. Now, I don't understand why they end up being the suspects or not the victims in this case. In Florida, it would have been a different story, especially in my county.
And now that law, as you said, Sheriff, has been clarified in Florida. I don't understand how what you just described, what you would do in your jurisdiction, how that isn't standard operating procedure all across the country. It's just basic common sense. People don't have a right to live in the place where they're living. That's a crime. But in some cases, some places, that isn't true. My understanding is Georgia is trying to move in the direction of Florida on this. Some other places are as well. What's your recommendation for states that right now have lenient laws that benefit squatters?
Well, my recommendation is for the law enforcement officers to go there and get documentation that the owners did not enter into a lease agreement or a contract for sale. When the homeowner can say, I don't know these people, I've never entered into an agreement, then that becomes trespassing or burglary or theft. And why aren't the suspects treated that way? They should be. They always have been in this county, and quite frankly, we don't have problems with squatters because of that. On the few occasions that they've tried that silliness here, we go there, determine that the owner is really the owner, and lock the suspects up. That's like suggestion if you park your car and leave the windows down, that it's okay for someone to get into your car and take it, and then you've got to have a civil court order to get your car back. All of that is nonsense. Law enforcement
Sheriff,
needs to lock them up.
That benefits squatters.
Well, my recommendation.
All right, let's send that one here. What do y'all think about that? I think it's a good thing. I think what we've had too far for too long is we've had people using the law against other law-abiding people. We've had too many scammers and criminals using things meant to protect people. They found ways to weaponize those laws and legal proceedings against um, law-abiding property owners. It's, you know, in Chicago, you had the landlord-tenant ordinances in the city of Chicago, which made it terrible to be a landlord in Chicago. Um, I remember back in the day, it took me 7 months each to do 3 different evictions, when I had rental properties in Chicago. And so I was like, man, never again. After that last one, I was like, never again. I will never own another rental property in Chicago for the rest of my life. And it's not just in places like Chicago. You got issues like this out in California. And you got issues like this out in other places. And it's, you got squatters and you have scammers holding people's property for holding it hostage, you know? So hopefully this will make it easier for property owners to take control of their properties without a whole lot of legal wrangling. But we'll see, some attorney will find a way to muck it up in the system, because that's what they do. That's what they do. So, it is what it is. What do you all think? What do y'all got to say about this? Well, it seems like we don't have a whole lot of activity going on right now. So I am going to end this live stream. This is Royce J. Royce Media. Like, share, and subscribe. If you have some show topics or ideas you would like me to discuss, shoot me an email. My email is in the bio. Or if we are friends on Facebook, do me a favor, send me a messenger, and I'll take a look at it and make a decision what to do with it from there. Other than that, you all be safe, and I may come back later. Y'all know how that is. It depends on how it gets to, how everything gets going with what I got to do around the house. Like I said, I got some home projects and stuff. Housework is slavery. you know, I got some stuff I got to do around the house, man. House maintenance is always something to do. But y'all take it easy, man, and y'all be safe, and I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.